Florabella on my screen. Her smile, it shines so bright. She's a queen with every scene, in the morning or the night. Recipes and good vibes flow, every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Recipes and good vibes flow, every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. Every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong.
Battles got power, Florabella stands tall. Every drip, every drop, watch the haters fall. Channel sharp as thorns, ain't taking no mess. Scroll through her feet, feel that queen's finesse. Vines tangle tight, but Flora breaks free. Roots so deep, can't mess with her tree. From the mud she rises, roses from the dirt. Every comment section she lays down hurt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. From the garden green to the concrete wall, Florabella, unstoppable nature's child. Leaves whisper secrets, she's the loudest shout. From the channel buzzing, she never backs out. Seed of strength, through seasons she grows. In the face of doubt, her spirit glows. Cameras ain't a limit, she branches out. Thorns in her crown, she wears it no doubt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Happy hump day. Happy Wednesday. Sorry, guys. I'm a little off kilter over here. Okay. As I see my specialty tiling. What is going on, guys? What's going on? Sorry, my camera was off balance. I don't know if it still is. Hold on. Here we go. All right, a little off kilter still, but we're here. We're here, everybody. I hope you guys are doing good. Okay, I'm here with a show. We're going to be talking about Mr. Collin Griffith. Now, this is actually perfect timing. I was going to do it yesterday, but this is even better timing. Because as you guys know, if you've been following the case of Collin Griffith, he was just acquitted. Okay, that's right. That means he deleted both parents and has been found innocent in both of his parents' deletion. Now, let me go ahead because I'm being rude. Let me go say hello to everybody in the chat. Now, we got Hellbent. Okay, Mr. G, though, said, hey, I'm finally on time. You're on time. I was a few seconds late, still getting ready for the show, but you're here. Thank you for being here. You are greatly appreciated. We got Daniel Barry in the building. Ted Heelman, thank you so much for the compliment. He says, hello, beautiful. Well, hello to you, sir. Hey, Louie. I hope you're doing good tonight. All right, so I'm going to get right into the show because I want these to be a lot smoother for the playback. So if you're watching the playback for me, make sure you guys go ahead along with the live viewers and hit the like button, share, subscribe, all that. Get me pushed all the way into the algorithm, because we're here to do the true crime conversations. All right, so today we're doing Collin Griffith. Now, I really, really, really wanted to do this case like last week. But there was already things piled up, and there's already things piled up on my desk even more. So I'm getting requests in my email and stuff like that, which I appreciate from you guys so much. But this case is truly intriguing, okay? For the second time, Collin Griffith was acquitted for the deletion of one of his parents. So that's right, you heard that correct. Both of his parents are now deceased by his hand. And he was found in both cases to be innocent. The first time, they didn't even go for the case. They said, in Florida, this ain't going to stand. He's innocent. All right. And just now, he went through a trial where we saw a crazy amount of evidence, and he was acquitted. Right. So Collin Griffith is a free man. Right. He deleted both of his parents. He has a significant history of mental health. And somehow, the state of Florida found him not guilty. All right, they acquitted him. So we're going to really dissect this one, right? I'm not going to spend too much time harping on. I'm going to get right into the content. We're going to start by looking over just what has happened in the last 24 months in which Collin's parents have, gone from being alive and well to deceased. What is going on, Josh? How are you doing tonight? Thank you for being here. Make sure you hit the like button for me. Thanks for joining the show. He says hello to the chat. All right, so we're going to start with this article. And this article is coming from a local Florida. They call Coco News 5. Coco News 5 ABC. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. If you guys can't see that, just let me know. I might have to make it massive, which will just make it easier for you guys to read, because this truly is a fascinating case. All right, for me, I think it's fascinating because how do you delete both of your parents and somehow people still think you're innocent? That is, if there's really truly any question of his innocence, I think when he deleted his second parent, that it was likely that he is not innocent. But, the state of Florida thought otherwise, and, Florida is going to do what Florida is going to do. So I'm not going to judge too much. All right, so let's get into this case. 17-year-old not guilty of deleting mom in Florida 2 years after pew-pewing down dad in Oklahoma. All right, so this is the little video. We're going to watch it. I'm going to let the ad play, and then we'll get into it.
We have breaking news just into the newsroom. A teenager has been found not guilty of killing his mom in Florida just a year after he killed his dad right here in Oklahoma. 17-year-old Collin Griffith is accused of killing his mom just 18 months after he killed his dad in Oklahoma, for which he was also found not guilty because of self-defense. Attorneys in that Florida case also claimed self-defense, saying his mom had a history of lying and threatening him, even pulling a gun on her child. Griffith claims he stabbed her.
Now, in light of her being deceased and the dad being deceased, right, could it be that maybe his parents were resorting to using weapons and things like that against him because of his level of violence. Now, the video you're seeing him, clip of you're seeing of him being arrested. We're gonna watch the body cam footage, so have no fear, okay? But he was found not guilty.
Self-defense, and that resulted in her death.
All right, so this boy is from Oklahoma, but he deleted his mom in Florida. So this county, Polk County in Florida, said he was not guilty. Now, ironically, Polk County is the same county that has the infamous, the sheriff of Polk County, the one who does those videos where he breaks everything down. Now, we're going to see his analysis as well as the body cam footage in a second, so I'm not going to go into it too much. He's also a big guy to be 17. Well, his mom is small, okay, so he does look massive next to her. You know, I don't think he's that tall. Now, I'm trying to... Okay, because some of them, so there's no witnesses and there's no charges. All right, he claimed self-defense in his dad's case. Charges were dropped after about 15 minutes. Now, I was going to read this article here, but it looks like the Polk County Sheriff is what they're referencing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys straight to that body camera footage. Right? Now, we're going to go ahead and credit Law and Crime because they are the ones who stole this from Crime Fix and made it a little clip here. So we're going to watch that. And we're going to see the moment that the police show up to his house when there's a issue between him and his mom. All right. This bigger, and let's get right into it. Sorry, guys. I have to put myself correctly in here.
You saying that you were going to kill your mom if you got in a car with her?
That's Collin Griffith, nearly a year before the prosecutor says he murdered his mother by stabbing her to death. I go through the chilling body camera footage that foreshadowed events to come.
She thinks that I'm like psychotic, like literally psychopath, sociopath, something like that.
This is a Law and Crime legal alert. Did you know that children are being diagnosed with serious conditions like type link 21W and his mother? That he was charged with kidnapping and murdering.
Sorry, guys, I'm on mute. All right, why haven't I heard about this case? This is a trending case. You know, the trial just concluded after 5 days and he was found not guilty. Now, in the video, sorry about that, guys. I should be not muted anymore. But in the video, you heard him say she thinks I'm like a psychopath or something like that. All right, why is that on your mind? Okay, right? Your mom clearly has a reason for calling you a psychopath. Now, I know you guys are going to probably think, well, if they found him not guilty, then that means he's innocent. I personally don't think that somebody can go from one day, you know, just doing, it's not coincidental that he deleted both parents, right? It's not just, oh, the dad was abusing him and the mom was abusing him. I think there's more to it. You know, I honestly, truly think that they both probably saw his threatening behavior. They both probably were seeing, hey, this kid we can't control him, right? He doesn't listen to authority, right? He doesn't understand that authority figures are necessary in society. You know, he didn't get that. And so, yes, to the outside world, they probably viewed how his family treated him as mean. But for him to have deleted both of his parents, who was really in danger? Him or his parents? All right, let's continue.
His mom, Kathy Griffith, at his grandmother's home. I've told you about this case before and how the photos on social media made it look like Collin and Kathy Griffith were the happiest mother and son around. But in reality, there were major issues leading up to Kathy's death in September of 2024. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd laid out some of those issues in a press conference last September. It included major concerns about Collin's mental health and an incident in February of 2024.
He has an argument with his mother, and he runs away from Charlotte County and comes back to Auburndale to his grandmother's house. Now, his grandmother's not there. And we got involved in this on the 12th of February, and the mother said, and the grandmother said, hey, we don't feel safe with him around, So our deputies who found him up here as a missing persons reported in Charlotte County turned him over to DCF. 2 days later, on the 14th of February, the anniversary of him killing his dad a year ago, he's reunited with his mother by DCF. Collin made the statement that I don't want to go home. I'll use any force necessary to avoid it, to include killing my mother. So that's the second time he threatened to kill his mother.
Now I'm going to say this, right? I don't know if you guys know, in the case of him being charged for the deletion of his mom, they decided, and I believe it was the judge and everyone else, that the jury was not to hear that he had deleted his father less than 2 years prior. Okay, so this jury was not allowed to know and include information of him having deleted his mom. Deleted his dad 2 years prior. My apologies. Now, I think that's a really, really important context, right? Is the jury going to say, hey, this is an innocent young man who was dealing with an abusive parent, if they knew that just 2 years prior, whether the county believed he was innocent or not, he deleted his father? I don't think they would have been so quick to acquit him of this crime. Now, I understand, the judge said that it couldn't be included because of, and we're going to hear it in one of the videos we're going to watch, that it couldn't be included because it wasn't privy. I'm assuming there was a hearing happened, and his attorney won the argument of, hey, this information could unnecessarily sway them to believe that he, just automatically deleted his mom too, and he requires a fair trial. So I get it, right? But I personally think that is too pertinent of information to have been left out of the conversation. Like, it's way too relevant, that's just my opinion. But let's hear this, all right? So he's already threatened it 2 times to delete his mom, and for some reason they're able to see this as a self-defense case. All right, let's continue.
2 weeks later, so they didn't make him go home on the 14th, but about 2 weeks later, in March 2024, they reunite Collin with his mother again. Everybody's calmed down.
Collin Griffith had moved to Florida to live with his mom after he shot and killed his father in Oklahoma on Valentine's Day in 2023. The murder charge filed against Collin was later dropped when the prosecutor couldn't prove that Collin's claim of self-defense wasn't true.
I can't see without my glasses. I don't know where they went. Hi.
Hello.
Who's who?
I'm Deputy Jankowski.
Now body camera footage from the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office, that's where Collin lived with his mother, Charlotte County, Florida, is giving us a look at the domestic violence incident from November of 2023, where Collin was accused of beating up Kathy Griffith. He told deputies his side of the story when they arrived.
I got off the phone with Rentis. We sat down and we ate, and she started talking to me about how a bunch of really bad shit. And then when I got up and was like, you can't just do that, and she was telling me to shut up, she hit me in the face, and then
Okay, so notice how when he's describing the argument that he had with his mom in terms of her telling him not to do nothing, he just, he brushes right past it. She was telling me not to do whatever-ish, right? What was she telling you not to do? Was she trying to set limits on you as a parent? Was she trying to tell you as the mom and essentially your guardian what was okay and what wasn't okay in her house? It's one thing if he had a clear description of what happened between the two of them that caused this altercation. Because trust me, it's an altercation. The neighbors are going to talk about watching him drag his mother by her hair. And this is not even the day that he deleted her. But let's continue.
I reacted like this. She grabbed onto me. I hit her in the stomach, and then I'm a wrestler. It was just reactive. Grabbed her. She got to the ground. I grabbed the phone. I started recording on my left. Okay, that's it.
So she hit you in the face?
Yeah.
But we've been through this. You called Rentis because you know you kind of messed up, right?
No, it's because I didn't know who else to call, and I knew that, and I wanted to make sure he knew first off.
Okay.
Deputies put Collin in cuffs in the back of a cruiser and then talked to his mom, Kathy.
It's Catherine A. Griffith, right? And then 9485.
Yes.
Okay. So I heard EMS is coming to check out your hand. Okay. Let me.
Right here, because he kicked me.
Okay. Hey, can I see your hand? Okay.
He kicked the phone out of my hand as I was trying to record it. I was on the ground.
Medics then checked out Kathy Griffith's injuries.
It hurts. I mean, you can see how swollen my knuckles are. It's okay. He literally stomped on my hand to get the phone out of my hand.
Let me see the inside of your hand. All right, do you have any pain to your wrist at all? Or is it just right here in the top of your hand?
No, it's
all of this?
Yeah, from here till about here.
Okay, when did that happen?
When he attacked me.
Was it like a couple minutes ago, an hour?
In the past 20, 30 minutes. And then he kicked me here. I have some redness.
Collin Griffith had been staying with his grandmother in Polk County. She explained that sometimes he would stay with her if he wasn't getting along with his mom, but it was time for him to go back home.
Collin did not want to come back home.
Okay.
And I said, you don't have a choice. You have to go.
And for me, it's like, he obviously didn't want to go home because his mom was setting limits on him. All right. Like, if he was unsafe with his dad, you know what I'm saying? Like, if his dad was unsafe with him to a point where his dad ended up deceased, what would make the state believe that that his mom would even be safe trying to set limits as well? I don't care what the county decided about the case, the Oklahoma County. I don't care if they believe that he's innocent. Like, how is this a viable option when he's literally telling people he does not want to be there? If he has to go there, he's going to delete somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, this young man does not want to be there. Foster care, yeah, take him. Take him. And I know the state doesn't want that burden, but if there's issues of he's threatening violence against family, why do they have to be dumped with him? Either send him to the state foster care system or put him in a psychiatric hospital. I would personally, I'm sorry, if my son is living with his dad because he don't know how to act, and then he deletes his dad, he ain't coming back to me. I'm sorry. You better go find a new home. I will hand over parental rights at that point, or go check him into a mental hospital. I know that sounds harsh, but if you killed your father, you ain't finna come over here and kill me. I'm sorry. That is not gonna happen. Nobody wanted to deal with this young man because of his behavior. Nobody. His dad, who was the person who was supposed to be setting limits on him, the state sided with him and believed, they were treating him wrong. Yeah, it was self-defense for being hit. Ain't paying no bills. They can't set rules in their own home. I don't know. Let's continue though. Grandma's gonna talk about what he told her about being at home with her.
Go back home. And he said, no, I want foster care. And even the corporal was saying, foster care is...
And I want to know, I know Grandma's old, but why didn't Grandma want to keep him? Because if he wasn't a problem, if mom and dad were the ones targeting him, she would have no problem keeping him at her house. But perhaps he was more of a problem than everyone wanted to admit. All right, let's continue.
Isn't going to be good for you. You don't have issues. You have to work on them. And so we agreed. I talked to him all the way. Oh, my car doors. Oh.
Collin has mental health issues, according to his grandma. He was in therapy and had a treatment plan, and there was some sort of intervention going on with law enforcement as well.
We talked all the way down, and I said, you have got to learn to get your anger under control. You want to be a Marine. People are going to get it. I'm retired from the service. I said,
so am I.
Very good. So I said,
let me just tell you something, young man. I hope with these crimes under your belt, you are not allowed to be no dang Marine. Because one thing you're going to have to do as a Marine is have respect for authority. And just because you live in crazy ass Florida, and weird ass Oklahoma that's letting you get away with that, don't ever think, right, that this isn't visible for what it is. It is what it is. Let's continue.
People are going to get in your face, and you're going to have to learn to deal with that and just ignore it.
Right.
And I said, the other thing too is you don't ever hit anybody. You don't even touch somebody, and especially somebody as small as Kathy. That is just something that you cannot ever do. I said that needs to be. He goes, no, but I still there are no buts. That's all there is.
You know what, Hellbat, and the respect that I have for the role, whatever you want to call it, of a Marine, a young man who deletes his two parents don't have no business serving our country. He has to go he needs to stay in therapy, perhaps consider medication. I don't care if this was deemed self-defense or he's not guilty or whatever. Mental health treatment should be mandatory. Taking two people's life just like that, I don't care what kind of self-defense argument you're making. No way. I do not want this person holding, weapons of war. No, thank you.
Collin's grandmother then describes what led up to Collin assaulting his mother.
So we got here. And Princess had agreed. She's going to lay the law down. That she is the parent. She is doing what she thinks is best for him. That he's not going to have his cellular phone. He's not going to have access because he's like talking to some person on online that we don't even know who this person is.
Okay.
And that she said, I don't want you ever calling me a psychopathic narcissist anymore. I said, and he goes, no, I didn't. He goes, no, I heard you say that. So okay. He just, he had said that in the past. And she said, let me lay this out for you, because the only thing I think you really care about is money. So anytime there's an infraction, I'm going to take that from you. And it'll add up. So you have got to fly right, because otherwise, if not, and then he was doing something with his eyes.
Collin's grandma then described why she believed Collin attacked his mother.
I think he wanted the phone, and that's all he was concerned about, was getting
his phone back.
His phone.
So was he upset about getting his phone back, or upset about not going on the cruise and going to get evaluated?
I think both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah.
And was she trying to record him with his own phone, or mom?
Two phones were involved.
There was two phones.
So there was his and hers. Okay.
So she, just to kind of clarify, he's like, let's just do it. Got her phone to start recording. You said next thing you know, they're on the ground. Did you see how they got on the ground?
No.
Okay.
No. I just, because I was trying to call also.
Okay.
So, but I was very worried she was on the ground, and I went in between them.
Deputies took Collin to jail, but before they did, his grandma spoke with him at the patrol car.
You've got to get your anger under control, okay? I'm saying prayers for you all the time, Collin, and I love you.
Mama, I think my anger's fine. It's just that when someone attacks me,
What? I can't hear you. What?
No.
Do you think your anger's fine?
Yes, it's just when someone attacks me, that's how I act.
That didn't happen, though. I was there. I saw it. I saw you stand up. And I said, sit down, and you wouldn't. And you went after the phone. And the next thing I know, she's on the floor. And I'm trying to get in between you all, and I'm trying to call Rennis.
No. She hit me. She grabbed onto me. I lead her, and then I got her to the ground, and then wrestling me, and then I ran.
I didn't see that, Collin. I really didn't. All I saw was you on the ground, or her on the ground, and you by her, and you guys fighting for the phone. So how did she get on the ground?
Because I moved her off the ground. I wrestled her off the ground, and she got off.
Why did you stand up?
And you know what? You know what? Grandma was scared of him too. Grandma was scared of him too. And ironically, we're going to see Grandma was also instrumental in his case. She spoke about, and I'm sure they manipulated her testimony for this in particular, but she spoke about his mom oftentimes lying about what was happening. Now, if the mom is a liar, right? Because that's the argument that was being made in court. Hella victim blaming. If the mom is a liar, why is grandma right here saying that she saw him? Right? I saw you when she told you to sit down and she took your phone from you. Right? Instead of accepting your punishment, what did you do? You got up and you snatched it from her. But she's talking to him about this through that police car. Maybe she knows this is the only time that she would be able to safely sit and talk to him. Right? Because other times he's going to be upset. He's going to leave. He's going to lash out. Grandma knows who he really is when he's upset. Right? But yet he's still found not guilty in 2 cases. Let's continue.
Face-to-face conversation. No, you didn't. You stood up and said, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Yes, you did. I was there.
I was saying, no, I'm not a psychopath. I'm not this murderer. I'm just trying to peacefully leave or peacefully coexist and just figure something out. And she kept telling me to shut up and shut up. And when I wouldn't shut up, she hit me.
And you know what's so funny? That might be true. Grandma saying no. But he foreshadowed. He said, "Oh, I'm not a deleter. I'm not going to delete you. I just want to live peacefully." Yet you delete both your parents, right? Dad is already gone. He's sleeping peacefully 6 feet under, right? And Mama just joined him. I believe this young man had everyone in his family scared. Yet somehow a jury in Florida acquits him of this. All right. He was acquitted today or yesterday. No, today, I think. Let's continue, though.
No, that's not what happened, Collin. That's not what happened. You never said you wanted to peacefully coexist.
I've been saying that.
You said that in the car, but not there with her.
So Collin's grandma told him clearly that the account he was giving was not what happened, and he said he wasn't a murderer or a psychopath. The next day, deputies were back at the house with his mom after Collin had been released from jail.
All right. Yes, sir. So what's going on, man? Last night, me and my mom went to a physical altercation. I got arrested for domestic battery, but going in front of a judge today, I have a right to a public defender, and we'll see how that goes.
Okay. So how is the situation with you and mom right now? Have things calmed down? Are you guys able to get along? Where are we at?
No, sir. It's not good. She thinks that I beat the shit out of her. I don't. She thinks that I'm like psychotic, like literally psychopath, sociopath, something like that. I don't know exactly where she's at. She thinks I'm going to kill her. I want to kill her. Or that I want to beat the shit out of her.
Do you?
No, sir.
Oh, she thinks you want to delete her. She thinks you're crazy. She thinks you're a psychopath. And what she thought came true, right? You deleted her. Right? You actually are crazy, right? You have no more living parents than to your own hand. Was mom wrong? Was she lying on you because she believed you were going to delete her? I don't think so. And that's from the horse's mouth. Let's continue, though.
Given what we know now, this footage is very interesting. Collin Griffith goes on to say his mother had attacked him.
I don't want to hurt anyone, let alone my mom, even despite this happening, but I'm not going to take what I consider abuse when someone's attacking me. And
how is she attacking you?
When she attacked me. When she threw a punch at me and grabbed on me, I grabbed on her back. I got her off of me. She hit the ground, and then I fled and called Rentis, and then
Now, from what we just heard from Grandma, right? Did it actually go that way, right? Or is he lying again? Did mom attack you? Or perhaps did you step up and pop up in mom's face, right? Because she's way smaller than you. You already deleted dad, right? Maybe nobody's supposed to be telling Collin what he's supposed to do, right? Collin tells himself what he's supposed to do, not mom. Dad's already gone. This puny little lady's not going to tell you what to do, right? Everything he's saying foreshadows his mother's fears. He's going to delete me. He's a psychopath. Right? And now 2 parents, 2 people who brought him into this world are gone. At his own hand. And we're supposed to believe he didn't do it. Right? But this is Florida, right? Florida said he's innocent.
He sent someone out.
You called who?
Detective Rentis.
Okay.
The deputies then questioned Collin about statements he made at the jail.
Did you make any statements saying that you were going to kill your mom if you got in a car with her?
No, I'm trying to figure out why we would have a corporal at the jail that took you out, that dropped you off to your mom and telling us that you said, don't put me in a car with her, I'm going to kill her.
Yeah.
Was that said?
I did not say I was going to kill her. I did not say kill. I don't know why he sent me back here. I asked him not to, but he said he didn't like my attitude and that I had to just walk by. And he sent me back here. But his words, not mine.
Okay. Well, we're just trying to figure out. We just want to make sure it's.
You know, honestly, he makes me understand that saying, right? I brought you in this world and I'll take you right out. If his parents can't set limits, who is going to set limits on this young man? Now, I'm not trying to call destruction to his life, but what are the odds that this man's going to find himself back in contact with law enforcement? Right? What are the odds of his behavior escalating yet again? You just deleted 2 people and you got away with it. Right? In both cases, somehow you turned into the victim, right? To the point where the mother is being told, you know, in open court, we're talking about the mother being a liar. She's not alive to defend herself. But her mother, who, you know, wasn't able to handle this young man as well. We'll be honest. It's not grandma's job. But she couldn't handle him herself, right? She sent him right back to his mother. Somehow that turns into a testimony about the victim being a liar. And somehow that has something to do with, you know, this not being what it is, which is her own child deleting her and her predicting that he would. Let's continue though.
We do everything we can to prevent anything happening.
Sir, given the situation, I don't think that we should be in the same house at all. I don't think it's okay. I mean, we're going to court anyways with one. God knows what's going to happen then.
How are you getting to court?
By car.
Do you drive? How old are you?
Yeah, but I have to have an adult in the car with me.
You got a learner's permit?
Yeah. She's been trying to lure a confession out of me all day. Well, it's not all day, but.
So you heard Collin Griffith tell the officers that his mother had been trying to lure a confession out of him all day. The deputies continue to question Collin about why he and his mom argue, and he tells them his mom had once pulled a gun on him.
So what does this all start over? Has this been ongoing forever? Or is
I wonder why. Right? She pulled a gun on you, yet somehow you were able to get the drop on her and delete her first. I wonder why she felt like she needed a gun in the first place.
What happened last night?
For a long time. So I came to live with her after my dad died, and since then, there's just been kind of times when things boil over with her, and she acts out. One time, she put a gun on me. I called the cops. I guess I wouldn't believe.
What got her to the point that she's doing these things?
I don't know.
You have no idea. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, she pulls a gun or
that I
hit you?
It's because that I'm driving her crazy somehow with the way that I act, and I don't know how I'm acting badly. She talks about school a lot. My grades are fine. I got a 3.7 GPA.
I mean, obviously you're not, you're a smart enough kid. I get that or whatever, but I mean, obviously it takes two to create this type of environment in this situation, right? And I've heard nothing. You haven't said a word about what's going on, what you're doing, or what is going on to provoke this, or where it's coming from, other than out of the blue, your mom flies off the handle and does this stuff.
And that's a typical narcissist, right? They talk about and they address everyone's behaviors and faults and everything but their own, right? He has it one time said, oh, my mom told me to get off the phone and I said no. Or, my mom told me I couldn't be out all night and I stayed out until, whatever, 2:00 in the morning. He is not even capable of holding himself accountable for what he does that his parents don't like. He literally just describes every situation as, oh, she just flips out and grabs me and attacks me. Who's going to believe that? Nobody's going to believe that. Collin Nixon says, Officer Hawk, Mike Hawk. I don't get it. Are you the Collin? Are you the killer? Just because they let you free doesn't mean I think you're free. I mean, I think you're innocent. You're guilty of sin. And these cops could feel it. The deputy who dropped him off said he doesn't like his attitude. Yeah, because he was probably hell of entitled. He was probably a spoiled brat who had no respect for his parents.
She claims that because I don't help around the house, don't seem to follow rules. For her is that I don't make a schedule. I don't schedule my day. She has ADHD and a lot of other stuff. She was really abused by my dad, from what I know, and that kind of just made it to where she has these very specific things that set her off, these triggers.
Now remember, the entire reason Collin is...
Now, I want to pause there, right? Because he just said something interesting, right? He said she had been abused by my dad, right? Meaning dad was putting hands and feet on her, and that made her act a certain way. Now, we really don't know the truth about that, right? Because his parents aren't here to tell their sides of the story, right? They died. They all passed away, both of them within 2 years. So now we're going to hear from Dr. Todd Grande on what causes antisocial personality disorder. Now, I'm not here to diagnose anybody, okay? I'm not a clinician. I'm not a psychologist or a mental health professional. I simply am making a observation, all right? And I think this dude is crazy, but not just regular crazy, right? I think he has antisocial personality disorder. Everything his mother has suggested that he does is things that every mom expects of their children, which is that they go to school, right? That they contribute in the household in terms of chores, in terms of, cleaning up after themselves, doing dishes and things like that. Nothing that he has said that she's asked of him is unreasonable. But you guys heard him talk about the dynamics between his mom and dad. So let's watch this video from Dr. Todd Grande, and then we're going to continue.
Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, what causes antisocial personality disorder? So whenever we talk about causation and mental health disorders, we think of the term etiology. So something that's etiological to a disorder is causal to a disorder. And a lot of times with mental health disorders, we really don't know what causes the disorder, but rather we see certain associations. So certain factors seem to be consistently associated with the development of disorders. Now, antisocial personality disorder is a disorder characterized by a number of potential symptoms, including repeated behaviors that could be grounds for arrest, lying, fighting, a disregard for safety.
Repeated behaviors that can be grounds for arrest. Lying, right? I.e., grandma said he was lying about how the situation went down. Disregard for safety. All right? These are just things. These are just factors. They're not necessarily, correlation doesn't always equal causation, right? But they are factors that impact whether or not somebody develops a antisocial personality. But let's continue.
Inconsistent work behaviors, maltreatment of other individuals, poor social conformity, lack of remorse, and impulsivity. Now, in terms of the etiological factors for antisocial personality disorder, we believe that genetics explain about 50% of the variance, which leaves 50% of the variance to the environment. Now, the way that genetics and the environment interact is complex, so we don't really have precision with this, but still we know that a large portion is probably explained by the environment. And there are a number of factors here that have been identified as being associated with the development of antisocial personality disorder. Some of them I think are more or less common sense, and some of them are actually quite surprising. So the first environmental factor is maltreatment as a child. And this is usually categorized as emotional neglect and abuse, physical neglect and abuse, and sexual abuse. So all of these together would be considered maltreatment as a child. Another factor that has a surprising impact is teasing. That one has shown up in the recent research. Another more controversial factor is an overprotective mother.
Now I'm going to say this, right? The teasing one, I'm going to go out on a limb and make an educated inference that that has to do with the rise in school deletions that we've been seeing, right? A lot of those, like probably not a type A or type B personality, but more so like a antisocial personality, maybe one that has a social delay, like they don't have as many social skills or social tolerance per se, right? We've been seeing a lot of those cases in the last decade, so I can see why that would change. But let's continue, right? He also mentioned maltreatment, which we know things like child abuse, physical, emotional, sexual, all that stuff has long-term effects beyond just making you possibly be an antisocial personality. But let's continue.
Studies show this has a fairly significant influence in the development of antisocial personality disorder, and other research shows that it might not have any influence. So we don't really know right now the role of an overprotective mother and the development of antisocial personality disorder. That's not clear. Another factor is witnessing intimate partner violence. This one is a little more clear in terms of its contribution. Also, inconsistent discipline seems to be fairly clear.
He mentioned one that was of interest to me, right? He mentioned witnessing interpersonal violence or something like that. Basically, witnessing DV in the home. Now, notice there when he talked to the police, I'm going to take you guys back to that video really quickly, right? He says that the abuse that she suffered at the hands of her dad made her a certain way. All right, so let's watch that part again.
Hold on with that a little bit. She claims that because I don't like help around the house, don't seem to follow rules. For her is that I don't make a schedule, like I don't schedule my day. She has ADHD and a lot of other stuff. She was really abused by my dad, from what I know, and that kind of just made it to where she has these very specific things that set her off, these triggers.
Now remember, the entire reason Collin is in Florida at this point is because he killed his dad in Oklahoma on Valentine's Day in 2023, and Collin's mother took him to Florida to live with her. The deputies asked Collin about his father's death.
So how long ago was your dad passed? Sorry to hear that. 7 months.
Yeah. He attacked me, my dad, and when he did, he tried to kill me overnight, and it was in Oklahoma, and he died. So,
how was that?
No, he didn't just die. Okay, you deleted him. He didn't just die, you deleted him. All right, guys, I'm going to bring up my friend, Sin. Okay, she's going to join me for this one. You know, she's going to get used to just sort of being a part of the shows a little bit more. So I'm going to bring her up with us now. Oh, all right, I got to find a different screen. Hey, Sin, how you doing tonight?
Ooh. Hi, guys. How are you? Hi, Flo.
Hey, girl. You scared me for a second. I was like, who's that?
Who's that creeping?
Right. I forgot you were going to be in back there, but we're talking about Collin Griffith, You know, he deleted his dad 2 years ago. Yep. And now he deleted mom. But he basically now tried to state that the reason why he deleted the mom was because, you know, she was trying to set limits, essentially. She was trying to tell him to do what he needed to do, you know, clean up his room, do his homework, get his life together, right? He's 17, big as heck. He don't even barely have a driver's license. So, all right, so let's listen to the rest of this body cam footage, and we're going to move on to the next video, which is going to go into some of the court TV trial. And feel free to jump in whenever you hear something or if you want me to stop. All right, Sin?
All right, no problem.
All right, so let me play the rest of this body cam video.
I shot him when he tried to kill me.
Did you already have a gun in your hand? Or did you go get one?
I was fleeing, and the house was filled with guns, 23 to be exact. And
you knew who they were?
I didn't seek one out. I was just trying to run. But when I was cornered and I had nothing else, there was a gun.
Why was he trying to kill you?
He's also a bit of a case, but homophobia.
Hold on.
The deputies decide Collin needs to be removed from the home again. They cuff him and take him to the cruiser. His court date is coming up in a matter of hours. Then his mother speaks with him at the cruiser.
So again, you know, he gets right out of prison after getting in trouble for dragging his mom through, you know, up and through their backyard. Okay. And then they're there again. I mean, how many more obvious signs does the police need to get that this boy, because he's a young boy at this time, he's only 17, that he's a danger to his family members? His dad is already deceased. Mom is, you know, on her way to the scene. He's abusing her in broad daylight, dragging her by the hair. I mean, these police officers who are on the front lines are the only ones who actually work to try and keep this family safe from this young man. Zane Matthews says everybody else is a nutcase except him, according to him. Crazy, no accountability. Yeah, he describes his encounters with his dad. Only his dad had a problem. Oh, now his dad is abusing his mom. He never mentioned that before, but today when he's talking about what's going on with his mom, oh, she used to get abused by my dad, and that's why she's acting like that. You know, it's just this boy he's very manipulative from what I'm seeing of him. But, you know, everyone in his family was trying to help him through some of that aggression. So let's hear what mom says to him before he gets arrested. Now, these body cam videos that we're watching are some of the last videos of her being alive before he deleted her. So very tragic situation. Let's hear what she says as he's being driven off. Do you have any thoughts, Sin? You look like you're thinking something.
I'm so like, oh my God, by this right now.
Yeah, I feel like there's a rise in like parenticide, you know, kids deleting their parents. We've been seeing a lot of them cases lately.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's play this last minute. This is her last words to him before they take him to jail, okay?
Did you tell them at the jail that you were going to kill me? Did you say you were going to hurt me? Okay. I heard you say you were worried what was going to happen.
Ma'am.
Yes, they have to go.
Collin had been placed on involuntary psychiatric holds. They're called Baker Acts. The photos on social media in the summer of 2024 made it appear as if everything was great between Collin and his mom. They looked really happy. Then on September 8th, Kathy Griffith was dead at her mother's house.
Mom drives up here to Auburndale from Charlotte County. She arrives at 4 o'clock. At about 4:30, witnesses and neighbors see Collin and Mom arguing outside, and Collin grabs his mother by the hair and drags her into the house.
Mm-hmm.
Just about 2 hours later, that's when we receive a 911 call where Collin said, I've had a very, very long fight with Mom, and she fell on a knife and she's bleeding from the neck. When you look at this,
I mean, how do you, they dropped the ball on this. I feel like they dropped the ball in this case so badly.
The mom dropped the ball.
No, because the mom was doing everything didn't you? I mean, she called the police how many times? They Baker acted him, and they just released him right back to her. What is she supposed to do?
I wouldn't take him back.
That's what I said.
It's just one of those situations, honey. I was not going to take you back. They would have had to pick you up on the streets and then did whatever they needed to do with you. Because right then and there, I would tell the police I fear for my life.
Listen, I am not letting you delete your daddy. You delete your dad, you ain't coming over here.
Like, you're not sleeping in the house. I don't care.
You need to go find somewhere.
You're not sleeping in the house.
That baby needs to go find somewhere else to be at that point, because the person who's supposed to set the limits, the dad, is gone. You deleted him.
Zayn said, especially after he deleted the dad, you're not coming back. There's no comeback for that. There is no comeback.
That's how I feel. You're not coming back to me.
No.
You can go to a juvenile detention center. But I feel like the mom felt like, hey, it's my job as a parent. I got to deal with him. And, maybe she did create a monster, but she didn't deserve to pass away because of this rat.
No, she didn't. She did
ridiculous. But so that's the sheriff from the Polk County. Now he does a whole video. I don't know if I'm going to go into it because he kind of gets very theatrical and will,
King Rooster, Flo.
Yep.
King Rooster says Florida is a messed up state. Now, honey, we're not going to talk about Florida like that.
We were just talking about Florida like that before you.
We're not going to talk about Florida like that. We don't do that. We don't talk about Florida.
Listen, let me play the video. We're going to watch a little bit more from Dr. Todd Grande. He's a psychiatrist, I believe, actually. And he's going to talk about, I have just a little bit of feedback, so I'm just going to put you on mute. When you want to talk, just unmute, because I think it's just the sound in your background. All right? But let me put this video up because Dr. Todd Grande actually evaluates a lot of these cases. And I know he's going to make a video in like a day or two because he was acquitted. So, and in this case, during this whole trial, the attorneys from the other side, they weren't allowed to mention that he deleted his dad. So the jury wasn't allowed to know that he had already killed a parent. This is, I don't know how they were able to pull that off. What did you say?
Like, I'm just trying to say, can somebody just hit me on the head with a rock or something? Like, what? They're not allowed to know. What is it? A conflict of interest as parents? What the heck?
Yeah, I'm assuming because
one thing they should know.
Right. Like, we could probably hear from an attorney on this, but from what I knew, right, basically his attorney, all they had to do is file a motion. They basically wanted to say, hey, we want to exclude the fact that he deleted his mom from this trial. And technically, they can make an argument for it, and the judge would have to decide. Now, if I'm a judge, I'm not allowing that to fly in my case. I don't care if you feel like it's not fair. You already deleted a parent, and that's pertinent information.
Honey, if he deleted a bunny rabbit in the back of the yard, that they should have said something.
Right. King Rooster said, if the state of Florida does not hide you in the judicial system, they will surely allow someone to delete you through mutual combat. I am not moving over there. Hey, Ian. He said, hey, Flo, it's Peanut Head, Ian. I was just playing with you, Ian. How you doing today? But let me, I'm going to play Dr. Todd Grande because he does talk about some of those things. And I paused it at where he mentioned that watching a parent be abused in a DV situation, that also can cause children, or people, I should say, to become antisocial personalities. So let's listen to a little bit of that. I am going to just mute the both of us so we don't get that interference.
Television viewing is associated with the development of antisocial personality disorder, in particular, excessive television viewing. And interestingly, with this research, the television viewing still predicts antisocial personality disorder, even when a number of factors are controlled, including IQ, sex, and socioeconomic status. So even when these factors are controlled, the effect of television viewing, its predictive power, is still there. The last factor I'll cover here is related to the maltreatment as a child factor, but is specifically looking at maltreatment that occurs when an infant is younger than 18 months. This is known as a particularly vulnerable period in the development of antisocial personality disorder as an adult. And we think that factors that occur before 18 months that are particularly etiological are failure to greet an infant, silent interaction, so that's when a mother or father interacts without any type of verbal communication, and maternal withdrawal, when a mother is cold, distant, and doesn't have a lot of contact with an infant. So maltreatment as a child in general is associated with a higher risk of antisocial personality disorder, and particularly 18 months or younger. Maltreatment in that time period is even more strongly associated with the development of antisocial personality disorder.
Now, I'm not saying that he has that, right? Because like I said, I can't diagnose anybody with any conditions. I'm not a clinician. I'm certainly not a psychiatrist, right? But from what we see from him, right, could something have gone on in his childhood, in his early development that caused his mindset and his behaviors? That is still up for debate. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next video. This is the 911 call and what was really entered into evidence, right? From what we heard, right, it sounded like he told them that she fell on a knife, which is just sounds like the most bull honky of a story. But now that we know the outcome of this case, apparently it was, life-changing for him, that they believed that she fell on a knife. So let's hear how that played out in court. Haley says, I've been through heck of ASPD and I don't pew people. Oh, exactly. This is what I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people go through all kinds of issues, right? People are domestic, are in IPV situations, are in DV situations, all up and through their life, and they don't become antisocial personalities. But what I'm assuming is that it can be a predictor. So basically that with an environmental factor, with a biological factor, is more likely to create somebody with antisocial personality. King Rooster, I think what she's trying to say is it's not tainting the jury. It would be telling the truth, because if he killed one parent and now he killed the other one, that's pretty pertinent information. I believe that's what she was trying to say in the chat. But she could correct you if she feels like
No, that's exactly what I was trying. I think he was a little, I don't know. Maybe he's a little confused because
he just likes to play dumb. That's Vic.
Okay.
He just likes to.
Like, no, that's not what he said, poisoning the jury. That's letting them know the truth. The man killed or pew pew his father.
Right.
That means he has no remorse.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the point is that, like, in a court of law, the attorney can always make an argument that it's poisoning the jury. But for me, I think that's pertinent information. That is necessary. If you kill one parent, you'll kill the other one.
Honey,
I don't care if it was innocent.
If he killed a bunny rabbit in the backyard, okay, they need to know about it. Like,
They said, Vic said, I bet he was a heck of a Call of Duty or Fortnite player.
I believe that too.
All right, let's not blame the video games, though, Vic. Not
even Call of Duty. What is it, GTA?
Oh, GTA, yes, because they just be running people over for no reason. Like, mad aggressive, pull them out of the car and punch them. That was a little different. But all right, let's watch this next video. They're going to be evaluating the 911 call in court.
The teen, Collin Griffith, is standing trial on charges that he murdered his mother. Just 18 months before that happened, he killed his father, and he said he acted in self-defense, and the charges were dropped against him in that case. Let's go back into court now, where the state is about to enter Griffith's 911 call into evidence. But first, the judge has to address this unusual request from the defendant to be absent from the courtroom during the playing of that call.
169. Has it been received yet?
No, you're right. I'm sorry, 165 is the, oh, yes.
Are you offering states 165?
Yes, sir.
For the record, what is it?
165 is the 911 call.
Is there any objection?
No objection, but.
It is received. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Griffith has elected to waive his presence in the courtroom during the publication of states 165. Mr. Griffith. Mr. Levine, you may publish.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. All right.
And listen, we know what time it is, right? He doesn't want to be there listening to his stupid self basically lie and tell the police, hey, she fell on the knife, right? I don't think anybody believes that she fell on a knife. But, somehow he was acquitted. Now, I think that it was a power move. I think he didn't want his facial expressions or anything to be evaluated. He's not a dumb kid, right? He's really not dumb. So I personally think he probably didn't want to be present to make it seem like it was for emotional reasons, but he didn't want to be watched while he listened to himself, lie about it. So let's continue.
$18, 14, 11, 2nd, September 8, 2024. 911, what's the address of the emergency? Hampton in Florida. I don't know the fucking, I don't know the city address. My mom is talking to you again now. She's bleeding out. Please help. Your mom is doing what? My mom's bleeding out. She's bleeding out. Okay, what's the address? Or where do you think you are? What road are you at? What crosses that road? Hampton in Florida. You go to the gate and you take the first right, and it's a house with a black dead out front. I'm trying to get into Hampton Inn. Hampton Inn, yes, ma'am. What city is it in? It's Auburndale. I can get it to you. I can't get her up. Okay, how do I lift someone? I need to get her to the hospital. How do I lift someone? Okay, this is called 911, so we're going to send an ambulance. She doesn't have time.
Oh.
And I'm using the address.
Okay, hold on, y'all.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Did you guys see those delays? Was it stopped for a second on the screen? Yeah, it was. All right. I wonder if it was. I wonder if it was YouTube, because I didn't do that the first time I watched it. Ian says, "Wow, never seen a defendant do that for a power play." I think more so like he wants to pretend. Honestly, I think he wants to pretend like, oh, this is so upsetting. It makes me so sad. I don't want to be a part of it. No, he didn't want nobody to see what his face looked like. Right? Because he would probably at some point, his face was probably going to crack, or he was going to look too emotionless, or he just didn't want to be evaluated that way. He didn't want people to see the look on his face. Because in these deletion trials, that's what they do. Court TV, they blast your face all day. How does he look when we're presenting the evidence of the crime scene, of your face during the 911 call? They do it all. And I honestly think that he is that manipulative, right? He's trying to control every aspect of how he presents himself, his story of self-defense. And so it plays for him to go and say, hey, I don't want to see this, or I don't want to be part of it, probably because he'll assume we'll think he's too upset. But I think he just didn't want to be evaluated. He didn't want all eyes on him. Jacob says, can I ask if sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I couldn't hear you because there's a delay. What'd you say?
No, I was saying, and or he told his attorney the truth. Like, hey, I really pewed her. Like, you know what I'm saying? What are we doing? And the attorney was like, listen, don't worry about it. They won't even see your facial expression because you won't have none because you did it for real. So don't worry about it. That is insane. What did Jacob say?
Jacob says, can I ask if you have any type of pity for this man? No, I don't.
Jacob
I'm sorry.
came in late.
If he hadn't deleted both of his parents, yeah. But both of his parents are gone, so I don't have pity for him. Honestly, I think he's extremely manipulative, and I think he happens to live in one of those states where, hey, you got the right to bear arms, you have the right to defend yourself, and things like that. And so a lot of times that's going to be more important than whether or not, the person that he attacked deserved it. So, were you going to say something, Sin?
No, you can go. I was reading Rick's comment.
Oh, okay. Court TV should run a camera in the hallway to see it. Exactly. They should have, because I would have wanted to see his face, just like when he's even out there, but I think for some reason he didn't want to be seen while this was being played. Maybe he felt stupid or, weak for the bad fake, thing that he said that she fell on the knife. Maybe he was embarrassed by that. Rick says
he clearly said it. She's not gonna make it. Like, he meant that.
Yep, he knew she was
very calm, saying she's not gonna make it.
Right. They will, but some of them will say, "Hey, I don't want you to answer that if you did," right? Because if they know, then
they have to know how to defend you.
Exactly. Honestly,
lawyer will ask that.
I wonder if his attorney had to be good though, right? Or is Florida just one of them places that you can get away with self-defense deletions? Even if they're suspicious.
Look what happened to Trayvon.
Yeah.
Trayvon was a stand your ground just because the man was on his property.
Technically, the man wasn't on his property. He pursued him,
right.
Very crazy situation. So, but let's continue with this. I want to see a little bit more about how they're gonna bring this information up.
What can I do? I got your price after Help is being sent. Stay on the line, try and get more information for the responders. I am. I do. Okay, help is being sent. Okay, medical help is being sent. She's bleeding out. Where's she bleeding from, sir? She's bleeding from the neck, man. This is my mother. Are you with the patient now?
The knife fell on her neck? I don't know, sir. He doesn't really sound panicked, even though he is trying to sound panicked. He really doesn't sound panicked, honestly. What is that? I can't hear you. Are you talking? What did you say?
No, I'm sorry. It was muted. I'm like, this is a knife. Like, how do you fall on a knife, bro? Like,
right. I don't believe that she fell on it, honestly. But he does sound kind of calm. Like, he sounds very calm.
He's very calm.
Yeah, they definitely do, Ian. And I think a lot of it has to do with their gun laws. But let's continue, guys.
Yes, I'm with her now. How old is the patient? She's 39 years old. She has a heart condition. She has a. Is she awake? No, she's unconscious. She's not okay. Is she breathing? No, she's not. I don't think she's alive. Where is it? You said neck. Okay. All right, listen to me. I'm sending the paramedics to help you now. Stay on the line. I'll tell you exactly what to do next. Okay, listen to me. Are you by her now? I am by her, yes. Okay, listen carefully. Make her flat on her back on the floor and remove anything under her head. Okay, she's good. She's good. Okay, I did it right now. Okay. Listen carefully, and I'll tell you how to do chest compressions. Make sure she is flat on her back on the ground. Place the heel of your hand on the breastbone in the center of the chest, right between the nipples. Put your other hand on top of that hand. Let's take off the shirt. Just make sure she is flat on her back on the floor. Place the heel of your hand on the breastbone in the center of the chest, right between the nipples. Put your other hand on top of that hand. Okay. All right, pump the chest hard and fast, at least twice per second and 2 inches deep. Let the chest come all the way up between pumps. We're going to do this until help can take over. Count out loud so I can count with you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1 moment. Okay, just keep going, okay? Solution, what caused the bleeding? Solution, what caused the bleeding?
All right, now it does sound terrible, right? Because it sounds like they're trying to walk him through a level of CPR. I'm just gonna comment on this right here, saying you ain't shit. She said he is not doing that.
He's not. That man, you heard her kept on going 1, 2, 3, 4. The man went to 5 because he thought he anticipated her saying 5. Oh my God.
It is disturbing. It is disturbing. You know, I think this young man was deeply disturbed, right? It was clear as day. But I just found that tickled me because
this man,
I don't think he was doing CPR.
Flo, you know he wasn't doing no CPR on his
He couldn't do CPR to somebody you just off. Like, nah, he wasn't doing that. He wasn't doing no damn CPR. I had to change the title.
That's when she took her last breath.
Yeah.
When it hit him, like, oh, she's really gone.
Yep. I just had to change the title because even deletion is against YouTube laws now too. So I guess me putting that he deleted his parents, I had to change that. So I put it for crimes against his parents. He was acquitted for deletion. Okay, he deleted both of his parents. He said end now on both of his parents' lives. So very unfortunate. All right, so that's a little disturbing. Do you guys want to keep listening to it? I can skip through some of it.
Yeah, that's a crazy one.
I'm going to skip through some of it and we're going to go to what the judge says and sort of what Court TV is speaking about on this case.
What is the jury taking away from this 911 call? We've hit the pause button on it. We're going to get you back in for more testimony after this quick break. Stay with us. You're watching Court TV. Let's go back to Florida, picking it up where we left off in the murder trial for 17-year-old Collin Griffith. We're listening to the 911 call where he told the operator his mother, during an argument, fell on a knife and was bleeding out.
don't have it. I'll find it across the floor. I'm like, where is the knife? I just put it across the floor with you. And he was losing child. She stopped bleeding. No more blood coming out. Lost it.
So now I see why he didn't want to be there during this, right? He got very emotional on the phone. He's saying she came at me. She came at me. She came at a knife? Do I believe she came at a knife? No. I don't think so. Ian says Charlemagne always gives people from Florida the donkey of the day. Yeah, because somebody was telling me it has to do with sunshine laws, right? Which is the fact that every arrest record, every mug shot, all of that, you can find all of that information online, most accessible for people in Florida. So not that they have more crimes, but their crimes are more accessible due to their state laws on, what is public record. So I don't know, maybe that's why, or maybe Florida is just full of free laws and free states and guns. Now, was there a lot of gun stuff going on where you were living, Sin? I can't hear you, ma'am. You're muted. You got to unmute yourself, dear.
I'm trying to unmute myself. There's a lot of them everywhere in Florida, honey. It doesn't fail. We all have them. You know that little Bart Simpson episode that came out that told everybody they needed to weapon up?
Yeah.
And Floridians actually took that to heart.
So the Simpsons told Floridians to get guns, so they went and got guns. Okay, got it. Right. So yes, Florida is definitely giving Wild Wild West. Everyone has a gun. I know people who are from Florida who are here and they carry guns like this is Florida. So yes, I definitely know.
You always have everybody. You always have to have your little 22 somewhere.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I'm telling you.
I'm like thinking about the time I found one on my friend. I was like, wait, what the?
What's going on here?
King Rooster says, I have seen people arguing. One person had a gun and the other person on the other end of the barrel was screaming, shoot me if you are so bad. I'm not inviting anybody to shoot me. Okay. I don't know why people do that, honestly. If I see you I'm cautious now, even with road rage. Okay, because I'm not about to get out of my car and then you're gonna blow my brains out. No, I'm talking cash shit from behind the wheel, and then I'm okay. I'm not about to get out of my car if I'm talking shit. Clearly, it's dangerous. There was a video I posted on my wall of somebody in Providence. Did you see that? Not Providence, Attleboro. He body slammed the girl. So I guess she was following him or whatever. They pulled over and she came and confronted him. And instead of just brushing her off, he picked her up and body slammed her. Full on.
Why are you following him? It's one thing for us to just argue while we're in traffic. It's a whole different story when you're following.
Yeah, way different story. Brooklyn says Daytona Beach here. Oh yeah. See, in Florida, people don't be lying too. They tell the truth when it comes to all that. So Ian says, I would have thought Florida people was gun happy from the white powder days in the 80s. Well, Ian, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and join us in 2025, okay? So,
all those shootouts.
Everybody got
Scarface, huh? We had Scarface.
Oh Lord, not Scarface. All right, we're gonna move on from the 911 video. It's a little gruesome. I don't want my video to get too in trouble. I already got one little pat on the butt. I don't want another one. So we're gonna move past that. It is a little graphic for my taste too. He's screaming and oh, she came at me, and it is a little emotional. So, and I can understand why he wouldn't want to be there listening back on himself. You know, I can see that now. Yep, he says more blood is coming out. Yada yada. Okay. You know, one trial that I have not been paying attention to is the trial of ASAP Rocky. I don't know what it is. I just don't care. Look, he said there's no more blood coming out. I believe you, Sin. He didn't do 1 ounce of first aid. He just watched his mama bleed out right in front of him.
He
That's what
he started crying when she took her last breath. And he realized that it's the truth. Like, she's gone for real.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. All right, so we're going to move on to the next video, right? So that was the one piece of evidence. Now, how they listened to that and thought he was innocent, I don't know. All right, now we're going to listen to some other testimony from his grandfather. And his grandfather didn't, you know, honestly, I'm going to say this. When we go back and we look at all of this, right? The grandmother is going to testify about the mom, right? She's going to say the mom lied sometimes about what was going on with them. You know, she didn't tell the truth about her interaction with her son sometimes. But her grandfather, right? I mean, his grandfather, her husband or maybe ex-husband, he's going to say different. He's going to say that he told him that he wanted to slit his mother's neck. Okay, if I say the other word, I'm probably gonna get in trouble. But I'm trying to mince my words for that the video doesn't get demonetized. Ian says, "Flo, watching these stressful videos made all my hair fall out." Listen, Ian, you didn't have hair before we started this video, right? But this type of crime is definitely jaw-dropping, right? The fact that he deleted both parents and the court found him innocent. You know, now I do think it's fair. I mean, I think it's fair for them to limit what they know about the father being deceased, but for them to not know at all that he passed away at the hands of his own son, I think that's not fair. They could have said he deleted the dad in self-defense. You know, I think that it shouldn't have been excluded from the trial, though. That's my opinion. Chris Wise said that she beat him or abused him. There's no evidence of that. There's no evidence at all so far from what we've seen. But Florida is crazy. That for sure we know. All right, so we're going to watch this video. I'm going to hurry up and get this off.
Kitchen knife. He's claiming that this is self-defense. He says that his mom, Kathy, was the aggressor. The next witness here is Collin's grandfather and the victim's dad, of course. Now, before he can testify in front of the jury, the judge is very concerned that they may go off the rails and talk about the death of Collin's father. Of course, remember, Collin shot his dad. That can't come in from this witness, and so the judge is instructing Robert Wallantis, that's the grandpa. Let's watch.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. You are Robert Wallantis, correct?
Yes, Judge.
All right, Mr. Wallantis, the parties have asked me to speak with you a moment to make sure you understand the limits of your testimony. Mr. Levine apparently has already discussed this with you, but I do not believe, and it's been represented to me, that neither party will be asking you anything about Charles Griffith's killing in Oklahoma. Do you understand that, correct?
Yes, Judge.
And that is correct, Mr. Levine. You are not going to ask any questions about that.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Mr. Thornhill? All right, so what that means...
Vic, he either has a state attorney, a public defender, right, or someone appointed by the court, or his family is paying for it. Because his grandmother, you know, she was still involved with him, even though he was having issues with both of his parents, right? He would stay with her if he was having problems with his mom. So I believe either, like I said, either the state was defending him or the grandmother or other family members were doing it. Because, you know, these types of cases, they almost always, they rip families apart. You know, they don't know if they should stand with the victim or the perpetrator. And both of those people are, you know, their family members. So honestly, this is a good question, but I think likely it's a court-appointed attorney. Grandma didn't seem like she was, rich. He got off with a state attorney. Well, you got to understand, Chris, at certain levels, they no longer just give you a run-of-the-mill public defender, right? They will appoint to you a court lawyer who is qualified. It won't be somebody who's going to get you a mistrial. These types of cases, they're not going to waste a case like this and give it to a public defender who doesn't know how to work a case. They're going to give it to somebody who has a little bit more experience, and that person is going to get, they're going to get paid by the state, but they're still going to be paid at least well enough to defend this client. So it really depends at this point, but I don't think he just has a regular run-of-the-mill public defender.
Okay,
go ahead.
I was gonna chime in because I was gonna say in Florida, for him to get off like that with the state attorney, that man has a lot of angels on his side. Like, I don't know, but state attorneys don't normally let stuff like that slide.
No.
Yeah.
And also, I think a lot of times with the state attorneys, it depends on the publicity of the case. Like, this case had a lot of publicity on it.
Yeah.
So I think the state is not just going to assign this to like a run-of-the-mill public defender. You know what I mean? Because then he can get a mistrial. They can say, well, he wasn't properly identified. And that's what people, a lot of times, that's what the police are worried about, is that they would get a mistrial because he had an incompetent attorney. So you'll see somebody with like a everyday, B&E. They'll get a trashy public defender because that case is not publicized. There's no, there's no news spotlight on it. But this case, because he deleted his dad not even 2 years ago, there was already a spotlight on it. People were already like, oh, wow, he deleted now the other parent. 2 times he was defending himself. So it got a little tricky.
Got him.
I don't believe him. Honestly, I wouldn't trust him with a feather. Much less a whole animal.
Bunny rabbit.
Right. So let's continue. Also, let's make some note of this mugshot. He looks scary. Scary, truly scary. And I don't know, maybe that's my bias, but to me, looks very insane. And he looks like the type that will pull out his own hair like in the shower or something. You know what I mean? Like something weird like that. That's not fair, but that's what he looks like. So let's continue.
Is that you are prohibited from offering any testimony related to the death of Charles Griffith in Oklahoma. Do you understand?
If you're just coming in, this is his grandfather. His grandfather is going to say the opposite of what his grandmother says. All right, so we're going to listen to some of that. And we are also going to get into the grandma's testimony because grandma is going to talk about his behavior, but she's going to talk about it from the perspective of what his mom, how his mom dealt with him. So let's get into this one.
Understand that?
Yes, Judge.
Do either of you intend to even establish that Charles Griffith is dead?
No.
Okay, so there should be nothing even about the fact that Mr. Griffith, Charles Griffith, is dead, because they're not going to ask you anything about that, or that he was killed, or that Collin Griffith had anything to do with it, justified or unjustified, accidental or intentional. Do you understand?
Yes, Judge.
So if for some reason you think, based on the question that you're asked, that the name Charles Griffith or the phrase Collin's dad needs to come out of your mouth, I'm going to direct that you simply ask if you could have a break.
Yes, Judge.
All right. If you were to violate this order,
I will not violate it, Judge.
All right, but if you were to violate it, you might be held in contempt of court, which is punishable by jail and fines. You understand that?
Yes, Judge.
Also, I want you to understand that it would very likely cause a mistrial, which means we would have to start this case all over again.
Now, this is where it would make me sometimes want to evaluate these cases more, because what is it that happened, right? What hearing happened that it was established that this could not be brought in this case, right? Now, I think whether or not he was found guilty, okay, we can talk about that after, but at the end of the day, he deleted his dad. That's a fact, right? Why does that have to be completely removed from the case? They could say he was found not guilty or he was found innocent, right? Cleared of wrongdoing. There's things that they can say, verbiage they can use that shows, hey, the police believe that he didn't do this the first time. But the fact that it was completely removed from the case, meaning they couldn't talk about it, they're advising that his grandfather not mention it, even though his grandfather is sitting here like, hey, my son is gone, or if this is his dad's father, I don't know whose father this is. Maybe this is a paternal grandparent, right? But his son, who it helped create him, is gone now. And the son gets to sit up here and say, oh, he deleted whatever. Or no, the son gets to sit up here and say, oh, his mom was a liar. And, his mom came at him and she was always attacking him for no reason. It's almost kind of sad. It almost seems like a miscarriage of justice that he gets to, go through this trial without this jury knowing that he also killed another parent. But let's continue.
Do you understand that?
Yes, Judge.
Do you have any questions about my order?
No, Judge, it sounds very reasonable. I'll respect it
all right.
To the letter, and my plan was to say nothing and ask for a break. So
all right.
You beat me to it.
All right. Have I overstepped what you wanted and instructed on, Mr. Levine?
No, Your Honor. And just for everyone's benefit, I may very well ask a question when the defendant was living in Oklahoma with his dad, but beyond that, nothing else about that.
All right. Ms. Thornhill?
Judge, this is an added request. During Mr. Wolantis' testimony at the motion of limine hearing, there were a lot of opinions and conclusions offered. I would ask that he not offer those as well.
Witnesses are supposed to testify as to what they know. Sometimes a non-expert witness, such as yourself, you're not being called as an expert, can give an opinion on something that's within everybody's common knowledge. For instance, if you see someone crying, you could probably give testimony that you thought that person was sad. That's the kind of thing that you might be able to give an opinion on. But other things that you're just speculating about, or legal conclusions you're coming to, or any other type of opinion would not be admissible through you. Do you understand that?
Yes, Judge.
I also want to encourage you, because I noticed from the hearing that you would answer a question and then give additional information, that you listen very carefully to what question is being asked of you and answer only what is being asked of you. The lawyers for both sides know what additional information they'll want to get from you. So please don't offer that on your own. Do you understand?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Any questions?
No, sir.
Anything additional, Mr. Levine?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Thornhill?
No, sir.
All right. So as far as Charles Griffith goes, all that you're going to be asked about is whether or not Collin Griffith was living with him at some point in Oklahoma. Understand?
Yes, Judge.
And you may answer that question.
Yes, Judge.
All right. Thank you. If you'd step outside.
Judge, it occurs to me before Mr. Wolantis leaves that if there is going to be a question such as, while Collin was living with his dad in Oklahoma, it sounds like the rest of that question might be, did Kathy have much contact with him? And the basis of that objection to that would be hearsay, because he doesn't know that. He would have been told that by Kathy. So, like I said, I'm guessing at what the second part of that possible question might be, but I'm worried that...
Levine, is that where you were going?
No, Your Honor. My question will be something to the effect of, did the defendant live with his father in Oklahoma for a few years while Kathy remained in Florida?
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, we're ready for the jury.
Okay, they're calling for the jury, and Grandpa has been given the rules of the road. Dwayne Cates, obviously in a prior hearing, Grandpa went on and offered some things that they don't want a reoccurrence of here at trial. Very important because, as the judge said, this thing is done if he.
And it's interesting, you know, this judge seems to be so protective of a mistrial, right? Maybe he just wants to get it off of his desk. But at the end of the day, I do think it's really odd that this is excluded from this case. Now, I'll have to go back and look and see if that's like just a mandatory thing, right? If another crime was committed, that he was found innocent, would the judge usually make sure that that's not, that information doesn't become privy to the jury? Is that usually excluded? As far as I thought, or as far as I knew, a hearing had to be had before something like that could be kept out of a trial. So I'm not too sure. I'll have to go back. Guys, I'm not a lawyer yet or anything like that. So I have to pretty much go and check on that. But I thought a hearing had to be had in order for them to establish whether or not that information could be presented in court. If anybody in the chat knows, if you guys are lawyers, if you know lawyers, you know, if you've studied law at some point and you know, let me know in the chat. All right, let's continue. And make sure you hit the like button for me, okay? I'm trying not to ask so much and just give you guys an opportunity to hit the like button as you're enjoying the content with me. All right, let's continue.
He utters this information about the dead dad. It's important.
It's really important, and I really wish I could get judges in my trials to do things like this when there's a motion in limine that somebody can't testify about something.
Okay.
If it's
See, exactly my thought, that this is not a normal, just everyday thing. It's done on a case by case. A lot of times a motion, right? An order in limine usually is a motion that's done pre-trial, right? So before the case even starts, the attorneys say, hey, judge, we don't want this information to be allowed in this case, right? His attorneys or the state's attorneys should not be allowed to mention that he was arrested initially and charged with the deletion of his father, even though he was later exonerated. All right. I think this is something that is just not absolutely uniform in terms of court procedures. I think a lot of times this has to happen before the trial even starts. A motion or an order has to be requested by the attorneys before case even begins. Ian, listen, I'm not an attorney, so that's why I'm trying to make sure you guys know. But as far as I know about the criminal procedure, a hearing has to happen. Now, he said order in limine. In the field of law that I worked in, it doesn't necessarily have the same meaning. So I wasn't understanding it. But if I'm understanding it properly, is there's an order that comes in before we ever go to trial, before any part of the actual case begins, and everything is established. Hey, this can't be mentioned. We want to make sure this can't be mentioned. And a hearing happens. And in that hearing, the judge is going to ask, well, why do you think that we should exclude this information? Okay, all right, we will exclude this. Or no, we're going to let this information ride. This can absolutely be part of, evidence. Okay, listen, I'm just saying, I'm just giving my opinion from somebody who's worked in the field of law. This is not usual.
It's really good for the state. They sometimes, witnesses will just blurt it out because they can. And so that was a very stern warning to this witness that he could be held in contempt of court, fined and jailed if he does. And, I think it's very helpful. I mean, again, if the court's going to make a ruling that you can't talk about X, Y, or Z, then I think it needs to be upheld, and it's not always upheld. Okay, sometimes the prosecutor will open the door to that testimony if the defense wants to get it in. But again, I really like that. I really like that the judge did that.
Yeah, very clear. There's no way Grandpa didn't understand the rules here as he gets ready to take the stand. The jury is now back in the courtroom. Let's go in and watch Robert Walantis on the stand.
After your daughter and her ex-husband got the divorce, did he move to Oklahoma with his son, the defendant?
Yes.
And did Christopher stay in Florida with Kathy?
Yes.
Now, did approximately 3 years go by when the defendant was living in Oklahoma with his dad before the defendant came back to Florida to live with his mom in Port Charlotte?
Yes.
Now, during that time period, what state did you live in?
New Mexico.
And is that where you still currently live?
Yes.
All right. Now, in Kathy's adult life and later in her life before she died, did you have an opportunity to go on a trip or some trips with her?
Yes.
And how would you describe your relationship with your daughter on those trips?
The trip out to California, we went through the Painted Desert, we saw the Grand Canyon. It was wonderful.
Is it difficult for you to be here today?
It is.
And what are your thoughts about the defendant?
He's my grandson. I love him. But
And I don't like the precedence that's being set here. You know, Ian, I really don't. I don't like the fact that, you have witnesses coming in testifying about, the victim having a history of lying. I think that truly discredits her as a victim. I think it vilifies her in a moment where we can't hear from her either. I really don't like the precedence that's being set here, because you're right. This is an unusual case and it will set a precedent. Every case has the potential to set a precedence. And it's unfortunate that this is what's happening with this case, is where, somebody who clearly was violent and a danger to his family, to everyone around him, deleted two people who tried their best to set limits on him, to improve his behavior. Now, he talks about his his GPA. Sorry, guys. He talks about his GPA and how good of a student he is. Okay, you can be brilliant, but if you don't do what you're supposed to do at home, like follow the rules, take care of your chores, be respectful in the house, earn your devices, earn the money that you want. It doesn't matter how smart you are. In this case, it almost seems like they allow him to make this case for that his parents were just evil liars, even though the two of them, at some point said, that this boy was violent and aggressive and wanted to delete them. And he did. And did. Right? He did exactly what the people who were raising him thought he would do. And they were just trying to set limits. Who is this young man going to become when he has the freedom to go out and jump back into society and do whatever he wants? Now, I'm sure in reality, we're all going to know who Collin Griffith is for at least the next 20 years, right? We see him, we hear his name again. We're going to know who he is. But at the end of the day, he's still free. And the two people who made him, he took them out. So I don't know. I really don't like the idea of him being able to vilify the parents in this way and call the mom a liar and all this. But then the dad can't even tell the truth. He'd say, hey, my grandson deleted his mom right after he deleted his dad. Right? That information somehow is not privy to a jury out of fairness for him. Right? But he can call the mom a liar and say she had a history of lying. We can't have that taken out of the trial, since that's something she can't defend.
Sustained.
All right. Now, you had an opportunity to see some photographs earlier. Those are in the form of State Exhibit 179 to 185. Is that correct? I mean, you would know that, but they're photographs 179 through 185. Did you have an opportunity to see some photographs of you and your daughter?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I would move those photographs into evidence.
No objection. They are received.
And could I publish those to the jury, Your Honor?
You may.
Thank you. Let's go on this. in the first photograph, is that you and your daughter?
It is.
Do you remember where you guys were?
We were at the jungle ride at Disneyland.
What about here in 180?
That's Kathy at the Grand Canyon.
181 says Continental Divide.
It is. That's in eastern New Mexico.
And then
I'm holding up the other side of the sign.
All right. Did the sign fall down or not?
We held it in place. Kathy and I did a good job that day.
All right. What about 183?
That is Kathy with a huge log of petrified forest. And that is the largest meteorite or a piece of the meteor that impacted in Arizona.
And then final photograph?
That is my birth mother. And Kathy and I. So we have 3 generations there. That was for her 90th birthday.
All right. Now, Mr. Lantis, when the defendant moved back to Florida to live with Kathy, was Kathy happy about that?
She was thrilled.
Now, during the time period when, since then, when he moved back to Florida and lived with her, did she try to make up for lost time?
She did.
And what were some of the activities that she and your grandson would do?
They had to catch up on 3 years of school. Collin was 3 years behind. And then they also caught up on the 4th year. So he got 4 years of education done in a single year. That's a huge accomplishment.
Now that is, I'm going to say that's pretty interesting, right? I'm curious how Collin got behind 3 years in his education, and this is where that not that definition, but that example, right, of like child maltreatment or any type of child abuse or neglect happening, and how that can contribute sometimes to these personality types. Okay, when the police came to his apartment based off of what the neighbors said, and he was talking about how he's 17, he only has a learner's permit, right? There was a delay there. Also keep in mind, Dr. Grande told us that in some cases, a overprotective mother can cause a psychopath. How does this young man get behind 3 years in school and then make it up in 1 year? I do think that his home life was a lot more stressful than most of us can imagine, right? This is me handing an olive branch, right? I'm going to go ahead and say that this kid probably didn't live a normal life, right? How else do you end up deleting the 2 people who are responsible for your creation? I think you had to have gone through something. And with hearing that, right, normally your kid doesn't go to school for 60 days. The state is calling you. But somehow he was able to fly under the radar as not having gone to school or not having completed school in 3 years. Now we're starting to peel back the layers, right? We're starting to see what's behind the surface. In these pictures, these lovely pictures of Collin and his mother, we're not seeing him distressed or looking unhappy. He looks like he's happy. He looks like he's having a good time with his mother. But could there be a deeper, more sinister dynamic to his relationship with his parents that caused this? Now, that's something I would want to know. I would want to know how a kid gets 3 years behind in school and it goes unchecked by the state, right? Because on average, kids who go to a public school, after about 60 days of absences, right, you're going to truancy. Doesn't matter where you are. Yeah, we absolutely, Gito. We peel back the onion and we're smelling something foul. Something is very foul here. And I'm going to say this. I have a hunch that there's a deeper layer to what was going on in that household. And when this young man deleted his father, there was probably some clues as to what was going on at the time. Now, I'm more interested in finding out what all was going on. Like, I want Collin to tell the truth, right? I want Collin to tell the truth about what was going on in his household, because otherwise, I'm just going to assume he was guilty and spoiled. But to not have gone to school for 3 years and make it all up in 1 year, what were you doing in those 3 years that you got behind in school? Was there truancy? Was he not, choosing not to be involved? Because I remember they were talking about in the beginning of one of these videos that somehow the police were helping the mom. They were assisting the mom with their son who was out of control. But we don't hear much. We're not hearing much about his issues in school. He claimed he had a high GPA, and we're not hearing about any issues in school. So what was going on beneath the surface? Ian says, right, they'd be questioning hard, hey, where's your kid? And CPS is knocking too. I mean, honestly, they would ask, where's your kid? Why are they not going to school? Same with kids who are on the spectrum or have like issues or special needs. If they don't go to school, the state is going to be concerned too. The state will step in and say, where is your child? It's the same thing. There's just it's not a case of where there's no accountability. Vic, I don't know if it's just all about being spoiled now. Because how did he get 3 years behind? What were they doing? Right? Because they also mentioned inconsistent, parenting or limit setting. Right? So if you got parents who are just, hey, for 3 years, we're going to dilly-dally. Oh, you didn't do your work? Oh, well. Oh, you didn't do your work? Oh, well. It's all good. It's all good. You didn't do your work for 3 years. And then you catch up in a year. There's a little bit more going on beneath the surface. That's my opinion. But let's continue. Let's hear what Grandpa's going to say, because they've been holding Grandpa's throat and telling him he can't say this, that, and the third. What does he actually testify to?
They went to Australia, Central America, the Caribbean. She wanted to give him...
Now, Mr. Willantis, what was your daughter's profession?
She was a teacher.
And what subject matter did she teach?
Mainly English, but she would do other humanities as well.
Now, tell briefly the jury about your relationship with your grandson. Did you have a relationship with the defendant?
We would talk on the phone, but I'm not a helicopter parent. I was there to support him and to support Kathy and to love them and be there for them.
Based upon your personal observations, did it appear that the defendant trusted you and would talk to you and confide in you about certain things, grandfather, grandson topics?
Yes.
Did there come a time when the defendant said something to you that was very disturbing to you?
Yes.
Tell the jury about what the defendant said to you.
My grandson was very aggravated at his grandmother and his mother. He said, I am so tired of these two bitches. I'm disgusted. He said, my mom, I keep thinking over and over, I want to slit her throat. I want her to bleed out. I want to smell the blood. I want to feel the blood. I want to feel the life and the blood leaving her body.
Now, when he said that, what went through your mind?
I needed to take a deep breath and do what I could to discourage that thought, because thoughts become words, words become actions.
What did you say to him in response?
I said, Collin, I love you, buddy, but you can't have those kinds of thoughts and focus on them and then speak them, because you will cause them to become reality. Please think positive things.
And you know, Granddaddy believed in the power of the tongue, right? He said, if you think that, if you focus on that, if you harp on that, then that will become what you do, right? If you're thinking about slitting your mom's throat and what that's going to feel like and yada, 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 and the blood and all this, then you're going to eventually want to do it. His dad could see it, right? His grandfather could see it. He could see the evil, right? The desire to watch his mom's life slip away. This is incredibly disturbing. I'm not going to lie. This young man scares me. I would not let this young man in my house. You kill your daddy? Oh, okay. You're all done. Okay? You're all done. No, sir. You said you want to go to foster care? Okay, we're taking you to foster care. You're not going to get a cell phone like you have here. You're not going to go on trips. You're not going to get an allowance. You're not going to be able to be talking to random people on the internet unchecked. Right? He kept crying out to be taken to foster care. But he liked that he didn't have any limits. He liked that a lot of times his family was more afraid to fight him on the things that he didn't want to do, right? Than to tell him he couldn't do it, than to set limits. But let's continue. The grandfather is not playing. Like I said, this grandfather, I don't know, again, this is grandfather from mom's side. Is the grandmother who testifies from dad's side? Which grandma is she? Because I'm trying to understand how she's calling him a liar and this grandfather is saying, hey, my granddaughter was a sweet girl. We spent time together. And her son told me he wanted to delete her. He was sick. Right? Two very different statements that we're going to hear from people that were close to the victim and the perpetrator. But let's continue.
Things about your mom, about yourself, and about a good future together.
Now, at any point, did you warn your daughter about what the defendant was wanting to do to her?
I did, but I did not use the exact words because there was so much malice.
Objection, Judge.
Now, were you explain to the jury? Were you concerned that if you
the objection there was, hey, you can't say malice, right? You can't see malice. So you can't say that he had malintent just from how he said it, right? As a regular layman's person, you can't say that. But yeah, I do believe his grandfather was not lying on him. Y'all know grandparents melt for their grandkids. They'll do anything for their grandkids. But you know what I think? I think this man, he saw his grandson with no limit set, disrespectful as ever, violent as ever, entitled as ever, and people were still coddling him. And now his child is gone, right? The young woman that he raised is gone due to her own seed. So it's funny, the court is doing a hell of a job of limiting what he can say, what he can testify to. But this young man gets to call his mother crazy. He gets to say that she believed he was a psychopath. I mean, she basically predicted that you were going to delete her, and you did just that. You did just that. And somehow Florida acquits you. Florida acquitted this man today or yesterday, I believe it was today, of the deletion of his mother less than 2 years after he deleted his father with self-defense, or whatever you want to call it. Maybe this was a case. It was a case of self-defense with a pew-pew. This one, she fell on a knife. Very, very crazy case. Like I said, this is one of these cases we're going to be talking about probably for the next 20 to 30 years at least, right? It's going to be studied. It's going to be case. It's going to become one of those cases that are referenced. It's going to become precedent for other cases, all of that. So let's continue.
You used the exact words the defendant said that he wanted to do to his mom, that might negatively affect their mother-son relationship.
It would, and I was afraid it would actually give her nightmares.
Did you tell her a clean version or a more vanilla version, if you will?
Yes, I did.
What was her response?
That he's been threatening her, and he's been threatening Susan multiple times with killing both of them.
Now, knowing that, though, did she still want him in the household and wanted to keep having the relationship with him?
Yes.
Victor, if he's not free already, he will be. Right? He's been acquitted of deleting his mom. So if he hasn't been already, he will be. My stream is being so weird. It keeps going on and off of monetization. All right, let's continue.
Mr. Wolantis, I don't have any other questions for you.
Okay, that was it for the direct. Wow. Grandpa's got a story to tell. That does move the needle in any case. Holy mackerel. Let's get a break, see how the defense handles Grandpa on cross-examination. Jurors, I'm sure, are absorbing that. Stay with us. Welcome back to Quick TV Live. I'm Ted Rollins, good to be with you in Florida. It's day 3 of testimony in the deadly son murder trial. 17-year-old Collin Griffith is accused of killing his mother, Kathy, just 18 months after he killed his father. The defendant says he acted in self-defense both times. Let's go back into the courtroom now. On the stand is the victim's father, and he just told a doozy of a story, saying that Collin told him that he wanted to basically cut his mother's throat and feel her blood and smell her blood coming out of her as the life left her. That was on direct. Now it's time for cross. How's the defense going to handle this witness?
You didn't come to Kathy's funeral, did you?
No.
Can you explain why?
The funeral for a person is for those left behind. I will see Kathy in my thoughts, in my mind. That's where I want to keep her. Attending a funeral where her body is placed in the ground, that's not Kathy. Kathy's spirit is elsewhere. The essence of Kathy is elsewhere. She's with me. She's here in this room today with each of you.
Wow, that is different, right? He had a different ideology. So
she can speak to you, she can speak to me.
Mr. Wolantis,
Ma'am?
I asked whether you went to the funeral and why. Just answer that question, please.
You interrupted me as I was explaining why. That you don't like my response, ma'am, that's your problem.
Judge, would you please?
If you would avoid the commentary and you've asked the question.
I did ask the question, but then he's talking about her being present and speaking to the jury, which is non-responsive.
Sustain this to non-responsive. That portion.
Dad said she's watching this shit show. She is watching this shit show. She's watching her son lying through his teeth. She's watching the court believing his lies. She's watching it all. That's basically what Dad's saying. She's watching the court not allow them to know that he also deleted his father. And now she was gone. So he deleted both of his parents, whom somehow he wanted us to believe that they were a danger to him. Her dad is talking without talking, right? He's saying that little boy is effed up. And I agree with him. That's why they're limiting what he can say so much. And in this case, in these types of cases, this is usually what happens. You know, the prosecution and the defendant's attorneys are going to fight over what information the jury is privy to. If there's a question, take the jury out. They're going to talk about it, hash it out with the judge. But this dad is not being fooled. He said that little boy's a demon, and she knows it. She's here. She's watching this. And if the jury allows this young boy to go home, she's going to watch that too.
Mr. Walantis, the pictures showed a trip that you took with Kathy. That was one trip, right?
That's correct.
Have you taken any such trips with any of your other children?
No.
Do you have memory problems, Mr. Walantis?
With what, ma'am?
Just in general.
Oh, sometimes I might think it was something that occurred a week ago, and it's actually a week and a half ago.
Okay. But that's the extent of your memory problems?
Usually, yes.
When was it that you say Collin told you that he wanted to slit his mother's throat?
I believe it was 4 months before she was murdered. It may have been before that.
And Judge, I'm going to ask that he be instructed not to use terms like that. That's for the jury to decide.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is up to you to decide whether or not there was a murder in this case. You'll disregard that, the use of that word.
Mr. Walantis.
But it was a murder.
If you remember.
But he did murder her. Right now, whether it was justified or not, he took her life. He murdered her, unfortunately. Right? So again, I don't understand why they have to instruct the jury so much instead of let the jury make up their own mind. I don't get it. It's almost like they want to pivot him into a role where he's somehow innocent. But her dad is not buying it. Her dad is like, no, my grandson's a dick. All right, my grandson ain't shit, and he wanted to delete his mom. That's what he wanted to do, and he did it. He told me he was gonna do it, and he did it. And that's the really tragic part here. If you guys can do me a favor and hit the like button, I'll appreciate it. Dita Down says, may a juror be his neighbor and not those that know a demon seed when they see it. You know, the sad part is, unfortunately, that the jury is strictly instructed, right? The jury is told, hey, you guys can't be biased. You can only use this information. You can't do this. You can't do that. In his case, this jury literally was told basically they couldn't do anything. All they could hear is information that justifies him doing this. Now, come on now. She's slick.
That Collin supposedly told you the things that you've shared with the jury today. May of what year?
2024.
Okay. And how did he tell you? Was it over the phone or by text?
Over the phone.
Okay. And what's your phone number?
505. This is being broadcast. I really don't want everybody calling me.
Would you shut the feed off, please, for just a moment?
And you know, the fact that he's the one that had to say that, like, it seems like they don't really get that privacy stuff. They should have understood to private.
Mr. Volantis, do you have any other phone numbers that Collin would have talked to you on?
No.
And you're certain that the phone call happened in May of 2024, aren't you? Because you said it happened shortly before the presidential debate where Joseph Biden had to later withdraw from the presidential race, correct?
It was before that. How much before that? Was it a month? Was it a month and a half? Could it have been 2 months? Sure.
Okay, let's get a break. Before we do, let's bring in Dwayne Cates. Grandpa, his story is the way he told it too. It really is sort of chilling, very chilling, and I found it very effective. How is the defense doing, in your opinion, in terms of trying? Because now at this point they got to make him sound crazy. Don't believe Grandpa. That didn't happen. Because if the jury believes this story, Collin is going down. How do you think the defense is doing in that endeavor, and how is Grandpa doing holding up?
Well,
So, anyways, before we get into that unnecessary commentary, this case is honestly crazy to me. Okay, very insane. Now, Collin's grandmother is going to testify about his grandma and what she knew about her daughter and how she handled her grandson sometimes. All right, I'm going to play that video, and then I'm going to get you guys out of here, okay? Because it's getting late. It's 8:18, and I would like to watch a few episodes of The Recruit on Netflix. So we're gonna watch this testimony. I couldn't leave you guys without watching this. We have to watch this, okay? Because the grandmother also sways the case significantly with her testimony. But after this, I'm gonna send you guys off. I'm gonna go for the night, and then we're gonna see what his he's not being sentenced because he's going free. Oh my Lanta. Okay, we're gonna do maybe some updates in a week or so to see what happens, see what moves the state is gonna take and things like that. So, anyways, let's continue.
Ms. Dutton, will you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell both your first and last name?
Susan Gutman. Susan is S-U-S-A-N. And Gutman is G-E-T-H-M-A-N.
Ms. Dutman, how are you related to Collin Griffith?
I'm his maternal grandmother.
So your daughter was Kathy Griffin?
Yes, ma'am.
Griffith, sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So give the jury a little bit of an idea of who the other members of your family are. Who was Kathy's father?
Robert Volantis.
Were you married at some point to Robert Volantis?
Yes, we were married for 19 years.
When did you divorce?
We divorced in 1998.
After you divorced Robert Volantis, did you get remarried?
Yes, I did.
Who did you get remarried to?
Inaki Markovich.
Okay, and might need to spell that last name for the court report.
M-A-R-K-E-V-I-T-C-H.
Ms. Dutman, who are your children from your marriage to Robert Volantis?
John Paul Volantis, Kathy Volantis Griffith, and Christy Volantis Rooney.
Did you list them in ascending order of age, youngest to oldest?
I've been youngest to oldest.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have another child?
Yes, I do.
Who is that?
Kevin Markovich.
And that's from your marriage to Mr. Markovich?
Yes.
Now, Kathy, obviously Collin was Kathy's son. Did she have any other children?
Yes, she had an older son. He's still alive, Christopher Ray Griffith.
How old is he?
He is 24.
I want to ask you a few questions about Robert Willantis, your ex-husband. When you divorced in 1998, who got custody of your 3 children with him?
I did.
And since 1998, has Robert Willantis been a big part of your life?
No, except for the custody battles we went through.
What about, are you aware of his relationship with any of the 3 children that you had with him?
He didn't have a relationship once he was not granted custody of John Paul. He didn't want Kathy, considered Kathy to be damaged goods. He only sued for John Paul.
Okay, but what was his relationship like with his children after the divorce?
He didn't have a relationship at all until Kathy divorced and she reached out to her dad.
When did Kathy divorce her husband and the father of Collin and Christopher?
2019, if I remember correctly. It was like December of 2019 when they filed. And I think it took a couple months for the divorce to actually take place.
Okay. Now, we saw pictures of Robert Willantis on a trip with Kathy.
Yes.
Tell the jury about that trip, what you know about it.
So Kathy wanted to meet the biological Robert's mother, the biological grandmother, because Kathy had many medical problems. So she asked me, she said, Dad said he'll take me to California to meet his mom. They lived in Anaheim. The mom lived in Anaheim, California, but you'll have to pay for it. And I said, okay. I said, just please try not to do anything too expensive. And I'll see what points I can use for the hotels. And they fly over there. You guys don't need to rent a car. You can use your dad's car if it can make it to California. If not, then we'll get a rental car.
So, Ms. Detman, did you in fact pay for Kathy to go on this trip with Robert Willantis?
Yes. I paid for all the food, all the hotels, Disneyland, all of that.
And when was that trip?
That was before she got Collin back.
So before 2023?
Yes.
After 2019, though?
And after COVID was over with.
Okay.
So I believe it was 2022.
Are you aware of any other trips like that Robert took with his other 2 children?
Hope it was over with. Huh? Was it? Ilana Love, she says hate to everyone. Kobe was over with, huh?
No, he didn't really have communication with them.
All right. So I want to ask about Kathy's such a thing for Kathy.
Yes, we had a celebration of life right here at the funeral home in Lakeland.
Was she actually buried or was she cremated?
No, she was cremated. She had goes to her sister and brothers that she never wanted.
Okay, hold on, y'all. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's a sign that we should go to bed. Now, hold on.
A troubled teen who fatally shot his own father
now stands accused for the murder of his mother.
I'm not a psychopath. I'm not this.
Oh, he is a
An argument
psychopath.
that led to a tragic
I
accident.
know.
For a fit of rage that ended in cold-blooded.
Did y'all see his smile? I don't know. His smile scared me. His smile done scared me. Okay? Who said he'd be invited to the cookout? Probably King Rooster, honestly. They just said that would be a hell of a family barbecue. All right, guys. I'm going to send you guys off, right? He was recently acquitted of this crime, but this is not the end. We're going to hear more from the state. We're going to hear more from his side. He's obviously going to be let free, I think maybe today or tomorrow. If he's acquitted, probably soon. But we're going to hear more from this case. I also want to hear the evaluations of others. All right, so that was my evaluation of all the evidence we've seen so far. We know he deleted dad 18 months before he deleted mom. He told people several times. He told the deputy at the prison who arrested him a couple days prior for battery against mom, dragging her by her hair. He'd said, I'm going to delete mom. There were so many signs, and yet he still got to do it. So we're going to see this case again, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my breakdown of this. I'm going to be doing more of my cases sort of backed up this way. It's going to have a mixture of body cam footage, mixture of court footage, and things like that. But I enjoyed this, and I hope you guys did too. So if you can do me a favor and hit the like button on your way out, subscribe, share, all of that. Sorry, I didn't know I wasn't on camera. If you guys can do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. And I'm gonna send you off with some tunes, okay? Just so it's not lonely and quiet in here. But let me do this. All right. I'll see you all on the next one. Hit the like button for me.
Florabella on my screen. Her smile it shines so bright. She's a queen with every scene. In the morning or the night. Recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora. She's got that power. Spreading her aura. Blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora. She's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora. She's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. Every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora. She's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows.